Welcome to this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice. We're going to go through a series of practices, series of short practices. I recommend that you do them pretty much in this order when you want to do them on your own, but we're going to just have a taste of each one, and you can do all of them for as long as you'd like. If you're more of a beginner, it's better to do the earlier ones a little more and then add a little bit of the later ones. If you're experienced, you just get settled into the earlier ones and then get further into the further practices. We start with getting embodied, and we'll go through a couple of phases of getting grounded and settled and centered and connected, mind and body synchronized. Then we'll work with our mindfulness, using our breathing as our anchor to the present moment. And then we'll open up to more of the environment and open up to all of our sense perceptions. And from there, it's a natural extension to connect with other beings and be able to express kindness and compassion. Now, because that's our conclusion point, it's good to start with the intention that we're including others in our practice. And we want to set the intention that we're not just doing this for ourselves. Of course, there's a benefit for ourselves, but there's also a benefit for others. And we want to have that as our primary intention, that we're doing this so that we can be better for others. Now, someone asked me, how soon do you get a benefit from this practice? And I said, well, there's an immediate benefit. When you sit down for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour, however long you're sitting and practicing this, that's 20 minutes when you're out of circulation and not causing trouble for yourself or anybody else. So that's the instant benefit. And that's why that's why we call these kinds of practices retreat practices. We take ourselves out of the fray temporarily, get settled, and get grounded and become more mindful and aware so that we can go back in and be better at being the person we want to be. So I'll take you through each of the sections of the practice. It's important to understand that the purpose of this practice is for us to recognize what's going on with us now and understand the ways in which we're getting in our own way. And very often that getting in our own way is a survival mechanism. It's a way to protect ourselves. It's part of us thinking we need to protect ourselves. But when we protect ourselves more and, the more we protect ourselves, the more we actually create kind of a suit of armor. And when we have this armor on to protect ourselves, we can't feel. If we have metal gloves on to protect our hands, we can't feel anything. And eventually, if we go overboard with this and just keep protecting ourselves, we have to seal up the joints in our armor. And then eventually we can't move, and we're like statues. So another metaphor that's used is creating a cocoon around ourselves, which is nice and warm and safe, but it's pretty stuffy and claustrophobic. So the idea of this practice is to open up and be willing to take a chance. Be willing to open up to our own experience and then being willing to open up to the world. That's really the purpose of this practice. And so we have to first recognize the interference and what's getting in the way of doing that, and then we can clear it and take baby steps of opening a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, so that we can have the courage to truly be who we are. Now, when we say be who we are, that doesn't mean just be who we think we are and who we're pretending to be, because we're just kidding ourselves. I call that false confidence. And we don't want to feel like we're only confident when things go well. That's conditional confidence, because once they start going the other direction, we lose a lot of our confidence. So instead, we want to have unconditional confidence in our capacities, in our potential. And our capacity, all human beings have the capacity, a mind that has the capacity to know and to feel. And our highest version of those qualities that everyone recognizes is the capacity to know ultimately can become wisdom. The capacity to feel ultimately can become selfless compassion or love. So that's the vision that we have. And we set our intention that we want to move in that direction, little by little, opening further and further, dropping our armor, coming out of our cocoon, and engaging with the world in a courageous, gentle, and humble way. And that's going to make everything better for ourselves and for others. So that's the ground of why we're doing these practices. So let's get started, and then we can have some discussion afterwards. We're doing this sitting because when you do these practices lying down, there's a tendency to fall asleep. When you do them standing up, you can get antsy and feel like moving. So this is a stable base of sitting. And because our purpose here is mindfulness, which means paying attention to what we're doing while we're doing it, we want to sit up, like we were told in school, sit up and pay attention. So I'm going to go through the posture for that, and then that's the first step. So if you're sitting in a chair, you can have your feet flat on the floor, about hip width apart, your lower legs vertical, perpendicular to the floor. But if your knees are a little higher than your hips, it's good to cross your legs at the ankles and let your knees be a little bit lower than your hips. If you're sitting on a cushion on the floor, again, make sure the cushion's high enough so that your knees are a little bit lower than your hips, so that you it takes some of the strain off of your lower back, and your legs don't have to work while you're there to hold your posture. And feel your sit bones really sink into your seat. Let yourself sink in, and then from your sit bones, pressing down, extend the back of your head gently upward. So you're upright but not rigid. It'll feel like a straight line, a tent pole from the back of the top of your head down to your tailbone. Let your arms just hang from your shoulders, straight down, and leave your elbows where they are. Swivel your hands up, palm down on top of each thigh, respectively, wherever they land. And now, an expression of our confidence and opening up to the world is having a firm back, but an open heart. So I want you to find a spot, the middle of your breastbone, not too high, not too low, and feel like that you push it slightly forward, just a tiny bit, slightly forward and slightly up, like a 45-degree angle. When you do that, you'll find your shoulders naturally come back just a little bit. Your shoulder blades come together just a little bit without you having to try. And your chin, instead of sticking out, naturally comes back a little bit. You'll find your breathing opens up because your chest has opened up. And part of this cocoon quality is curled and closed, almost fetal position. And unfortunately, we spend a lot of time on our computers reaching forward that way, so our shoulders curl forward. We're not pulling our shoulders back, we're simply opening our chest, and the shoulders come back just a little bit naturally. You can feel how good it feels to be able and breathe in through your nostrils, and it's like fresh air coming into your chest. And with your chin pulled in slightly that way, very naturally, let your jaw relax, but not have your mouth hang open. So your lips are just very lightly touching or very slightly parted. Either way is all right. And now for our practices, let your eyes gently close. And we're going to fully inhabit our body. Too often it's like we're our head and our body's our transport vehicle, carrying us around and getting things and finding food to shove into our mouth and drink. And it's um, it's as if we're up in the control tower and our body's like our robot. So we want to engage and fully inhabit our body. We'll do that from the ground up. So wiggle your toes a little bit. Arch them toes down and feel your instep. Arch, tilt, arch your toes up and feel the arches in the bottom of your feet. Roll your ankles a little bit. Feel how that changes how your feet touch the floor. Flex your calf and shin muscles. You may not even feel your shin muscles very often. Your lower legs, your knees. Flex your thighs. You've got hamstrings, quads, adductors, all the muscles of your thighs. That's your power for your transport. Your feet are the connectors to the ground. And now just shift your thighs a little bit forward and back and feel how they connect into your hip joint, the hip socket. When you do that, you're actually feeling your skeleton, feeling your being your skeleton, being your body, the bones and the muscles on top of them, all the connectors. And that's how your legs connect to your torso. And feel your whole pelvic girdle all the way around. That's the container for your core, which is the real core of your energy, the energy spot in all the Eastern wisdom traditions, the hara or the dantian. It's a couple of inches below your navel, just in front of your spine, deep in your core. We want to feel the three-dimensionality of our torso. There's a distance from front to back as well as side to side and top to bottom. Feel that thickness. Your lower back, deep belly, where your core is. Then higher, your stomach, mid-back, solar plexus, rib cage all around. You can move your torso a little bit, just turn a little bit side to side. And feel that three-dimensional quality. Feel your shoulder blades, upper back, and again, sternum, your breastbone slightly up and slightly forward. That opens your chest. Your shoulders come back naturally. Feel your shoulders. Move them back and forth a little bit. And then move your upper arms a bit. So that's the sockets, the shoulder socket that connects your shoulders, your torso, to your arms as well. Flex your biceps and triceps, your upper arms, elbows, forearms. Move your fingers and hands a little bit. And now we've fully embodied our limbs and our torso. Feel your shoulders and the muscles at the base of your neck, where the neck connects with the shoulders. And then above, where the neck connects with your skull. Feel your jaw and face. Now you're fully embodied from toe to head. Good job. Feels alive, much more alive than just being in our thinking mind. Now we have this posture. We want to feel like our spine is a tent pole, up all the way, continuing up straight up the back of our head to the back of the top of our head. But everything else we want to feel like is like the canvas hanging from that tent pole before it's pulled out to be a tent. So whatever we don't need to hold our posture, we're going to let that tension melt away. Just scan your body. It's like you're doing your own mental MRI, scanning down from the top, your scalp, forehead, eye sockets, cheekbones, ears, and jaw. Just let the tension melt without your mouth hanging open. Keep your posture. Chin in. Let the tension melt from your neck and shoulders. When you do that, you may feel your shoulders drop a little bit by themselves. Often we're holding our shoulders up and don't even realize it. So just let the tension melt. Let your shoulders just hang from the tent pole. Open heart, chest. You need to have a little tension to hold that chest slightly up and slightly forward. Just slightly, a little bit. Don't force it at all. Upper arms, chest, back, stomach, lower back, deep belly. We sometimes hold tension in our deep belly and genitals and don't realize it. We don't need to clench. Without losing your posture, just let the tension melt. Hips, pelvic area, thighs, forearms, hands. Let them soften without losing your posture. Knees, calves, ankles, and feet. Bring your awareness back to your core now. Again, feel your sit bones pressing into the cushion that you're on. And feel your deep core. Just let your awareness rest there, out of your head, deep in the core of your body. Notice how the breath makes it expand and contract. It's your diaphragm pushing down, but it feels like the air is filling your whole torso. That's what it feels like. That's what's important. Feel that expanding as you fill, contracting as you empty. And it's quiet down there. The breath comes in and goes out by itself. Like the ocean on a quiet day, where it just comes up on the shore, goes back in to the ocean. Filling, emptying. And we're going to let our minds be open to whatever we're experiencing, aware, without judging, without bias, like the sky, open to everything happening below it. Your body stable, upright, and dignified with your chest open. Like a king or queen sitting on a throne, but more like connecting with the earth and like a mountain. Let your body be like a mountain. Breath like the ocean coming and going. Mind like the sky. I'm going to ring a gong, and as it fades, let your eyes gently open about halfway so that you're looking downward under your eyelids, because we want to be aware of our body sitting in the space, just a little bit of space surrounding us. And soften your gaze so that wherever your eyes are resting, they don't move, but you're not really looking at a spot, you're just seeing the space that you're sitting in. We're just going to leave our awareness there in our core, feeling it expand as it fills, contract as it empties, as the breath goes out. Filling, emptying. Now, as we do this, thoughts might appear in your mind. If they just come and go, let them come and go like birds flying across the sky of your mind, leaving no trace. But if the thoughts hook you and take you away into a series of thoughts, a daydream, at some point it'll pop and you'll realize, oh, now you're already back in the here and now, in your body. But it's helpful to punctuate that, to notice the difference. So you're going to have a little mental label, one word, thinking or thought. And that's code for I was off in thoughts, now I'm back. Return to body and breathing. We'll do that for a couple of minutes. Now, if you found that your eyes closed and you got drowsy, when you realize it, open them wider, look further out, reinvigorate your posture, and feel the whole process. Feel the breath coming in your nostrils and filling your torso, down to your core, and then up and out of your core and out your nostrils. And if you found your mind was seemingly continually, occupied by thought after thought after thought after thought, daydream after daydream, keep your gaze lowered and just feel more detail of the process, the starting to fill and expand in your deep core, a moment of gap of transition and starting to empty as the breath goes out, and emptying and empty. Gap, starting to fill, filling and full, starting to empty, emptying and empty. And you can do either of those for the next couple of minutes. the sound of the gong fades, without changing your posture, don't lift your chin, but just let your eyes open and let the direction of your gaze fall naturally. It'll be a little higher than before, but not quite to horizontal. Whatever direction you're looking in, again, soften your gaze and open up your peripheral vision to see the whole space all around you. We'll use our breath to connect with our environment. So our attention is on how the breath goes out. The breath goes out and it mixes with the atmosphere in the room and dissolves and becomes one with the environment. As the breath goes out, let your awareness go out and open up. Open up to the space so that your mind mixes with the space. Let the body breathe in by itself. That will be part of your awareness. You'll notice that. And again, keep your chest open. And then out, open, and rest in that open awareness. It's important to just let the body breathe, not be a controller of your breathing, just an observer. Observing it go out, open, and just rest in that spaciousness while the body breathes in by itself. And again, if you find yourself having been lost in a daydream, when you realize it, just smile. Use your code word thinking, which means I was off in thoughts and now I'm back. Reinvigorate your posture and connect with the next out breath. Out, open, rest in spaciousness. We'll do that for a couple of minutes. Now we're going to work with our sense perceptions. So there's still a light touch of awareness of the breath going out into space. But as you open up your peripheral vision, above and below, side to side, tune into the colors, shapes, and shades of light and dark. Without moving your eyes, you can let your awareness move around the space. It's like a landscape of colors, shapes, and shades of light and dark. A label may pop into your mind: door, window, bookshelf. No need to elaborate beyond that or comment on that. Just let it be a thought coming and going, again like a bird flying across the sky. And that's how we'll work with thoughts. If thoughts appear in your mind, just be aware of them coming and going without engaging. They appear, last for a moment, and disappear. Open your peripheral hearing. You're listening, open to hearing sounds in all directions, from all directions, loud and soft, high-pitched and low, near and far. You may become aware of bodily sensations. Just notice those without moving, unless it's a sharp pain. Then take care of yourself. But just notice bodily sensations, visual, colors, shapes, shades of light and dark, sounds, thoughts passing through the mind. There's a quality of seeing rather than looking for something. Just hearing what's happening rather than listening for something. Aware of your thoughts without thinking about something. Feeling your body without needing it to be a particular way. And as the gong fades, raise your gaze higher to look out just above the horizon. And imagine that your awareness is as vast as the sky, above and all around, beyond what you can see and hear. And open up further. Imagine that your awareness extends beyond the sky, out into space in all directions. Farther than you can even imagine, just total openness. Rest in that vast, infinite openness for a moment. When we have that openness, which is the full capacity of our awareness of our mind, that's the space from which we can connect with others, so that there is not so much separation between ourselves and others. We find the commonality. We all want to be free from suffering. We all want to have peace and contentment. We all want to be free from fear and feel safe. So this last practice you can do with your eyes open or closed. It's a contemplation more than a meditation, a kind of combination of the two. Because you're going to imagine in front of you loved ones who you know will also want to be free from suffering and have peace and contentment, free from fear and feel safe. And you know their particulars of their suffering and the particular way they feel good. And as you breathe in, imagine that in your open heart of compassion takes in that suffering, cradles it, calms it, transforms it into kindness. And as you breathe out, radiate out kindness to them that pacifies their suffering and gives them peace, contentment, and freedom from fear. Breathe in, taking their suffering. Breathe out, extending them peace, contentment, and freedom from fear. It's not hard to do that for ones we love. Now let's do it for ourselves. Breathe into your heart all your own fear, angst, anxiety, struggle. Cradle that in your heart of compassion for yourself and breathe out forgiveness, acceptance, peace, contentment, and safety. If it helps, you can put your hand over your breastbone, that center spot that's extending up and out. Feel your heart of compassion. taking in suffering from yourself and others, radiating out compassion, kindness to yourself and others. And as best you can, expand that out farther and farther to include all beings. You can breathe in and gather, take away, and contain all the suffering in the world. Your infinitely open heart of compassion has that capacity, unlimited capacity, to absorb and transform that into the cool moonlight of kindness. Radiate out that cool moonlight of kindness to yourself and all beings. Your open heart of compassion has infinite potential and capacity to radiate out unlimited kindness, unlimited loving kindness. Now let go of what you're imagining, what you're contemplating. Come back into your body, fully inhabit your body. Feel your breath expanding and contracting your core. Open heart, fully grounded. Thank you. And we'd like to reiterate our intention that we made at the beginning, that we're doing this not just for ourselves, but for the benefit of others. So you can repeat after me or put it in your own words. May the practice I've just done be of benefit to others, even more so than to myself. You're still included, you get benefit, but we're saying it's the intention. May the practice we have just done benefit others beyond ourselves. So thank you, and that concludes this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice.